case you pass out, that's tough.
Welcome back to our journey through 100 years of horror. We've finally made it to the 50s, where science fiction reigned supreme. The decade was filled with alien invaders, science experiments gone wrong, or giant monsters born from toxic radiation. Today, we're going to be looking at the more alien side with 1951's The Thing from Another World, also known as simply The Thing. The Thing follows a group of people in the North Pole discovering a crashed flying saucer. Inside the wreck is an alien pilot. After running some tests, the alien is found to be oddly plant-based, specifically a carrot.
It sounds like, well, just as though you're describing some form of super carrot. An intellectual carrot, the mind boggles.
But the movie really begins when the alien defrosts, and suddenly the Arctic base turns into a fight for survival. This movie is pretty solid. On the surface, it doesn't seem too special. A lot of movies of this era consisted of a strange creature barely showing up, and the runtime being filled with a bunch of guys sitting around deciding what to do about it. This movie is generally smarter than its contemporaries, featuring more competent characters and overall better filmmaking. The cast actually has decent chemistry, which helps because the movie is known for its subtle, dry humor and clever writing.
What did you say the number of that bulletin was?
629-49, item 6700, extract 75,131.
Oh, that one.
The reveal of the monster is honestly very effective. The film does a great job building suspense and has a very satisfying reveal.
The needles hit the top.
The monster itself, unfortunately, isn't super unique. It's big and threatening, sure, but it's really just a guy at the end of the day. It honestly looks like the Frankenstein monster mixed with a Brussels sprout. It seems like the filmmakers knew this, though, and made up for it by barely showing the monster, and when it is on screen, never once giving it a close-up. This adds a little bit more mystery to the creature's identity, which helps a little bit. The movie wasn't loved by critics upon release, but has since gotten the attention it deserves, even getting preserved in the Library of Congress. It's inspired many filmmakers, most famously John Carpenter, who remade the film in 1982, which is certainly the more famous of the two films. A lot of people love to say that the 80s version is so much better, but the truth is that the two films are far too different to compare. They're almost opposites. The only thing they really have in common is the iconic title sequence. There's a scene where they set the alien on fire, and as far as I can tell, it's the earliest known example of an actor using a fire suit. I couldn't find a good spot to put this, I just thought it was interesting enough to mention. The Thing from Another World is one of the cornerstones of this era, and perfectly sets the stage for what would come later in the decade. So much so that the iconic ending line, "Watch the skies," would go on to become a term synonymous with the era and 1950s sci-fi as a whole. Definitely check out The Thing.
I bring you a warning. Every one of you listening to my voice, tell the world. Tell this to everybody wherever they are. Watch the skies, everywhere. Keep looking. Keep watching the skies.
Pleasant nightmares, friend.
Good midnight to you.